YouTube, this is Mallory Jerry Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, this is the last day of July. I can't believe it. Seems like, it's already, we're almost just a few hours away to a new month. I mean, time just flies. So anyway, here, I have a special guest here. We haven't seen him in a while. This brother, he's a really cool guy. He gives some information. Now he looks like a Hulk Hogan dipped in chocolate. Where you at, brother? Where you at, brother?
Don't be mad because you can't grow your hair out. Don't be mad because you can't grow your hair out like this, dog. This is 5 hours of work, bro.
Nah, brother. This is. I like this better. I don't have to worry about maintenance. It's just I just brush my hair, keep on moving. So this man here. This is a good friend of mine. He's married to a very beautiful lady in the sport of bodybuilding. She is beautiful. This is my brother, Mr. Big Keith Williams, aka Scuba Steve. As you know, a while back, Keith had been through some stuff. He's doing well. We see he's still standing. Anyway, I reached out to my big brother here, saying that we want to talk about what's going on. And people telling me that it seems like bodybuilding right now, for women's bodybuilding, it's going back to where it's on its last leg. This year's kind of not been a very good year for women's bodybuilding. You saw got kicked out of three shows. They kicked them out of the Brazil show, got kicked out of Omaha, got kicked out of the Big Man Weekend in Spain. Then we lost the Linda Murray show, but now she has the Atlanta show, but still we lost. That's the show we lost. The Tim Gardner show, the Puerto Rico Pro, and Dave Brower's Indie Pro when they just debuted women's bodybuilding last year. And then if you follow social media and you follow me, you heard that Helen Trevino is not competing at the Olympia this year. The number 3 competitor is not competing at the Olympia. So we had Tampa come up this weekend, just has Chicago last weekend, and then you have come the end of this month, you have the Masters Olympia, and then I think next month you have the Europe show, and after that, that's all left for qualifications. There's another show, which is the Masters show. It's the same. That's the same week as the I think it's the same week as North Americans, but that's not Olympic qualification. So the question is, what's going on? Why
the Wings and Strength World Championships?
Well, that we don't count that, because here's the thing is, as long as Andrew's winning, they don't give the qualification unless Jake does this. This is a theory I might have. As you know, Michaela, she took second to Mela at Atlanta, and she's doing the Tampa show. I don't know about who else is doing. I think Melissa Tyke said she's doing this show. Maybe Jessica Martin, who did Chicago, also. Still, one person who's missed out. I'm surprised she hadn't done a show other than Toronto. That is Teresa Vasic. Now, this could happen if Michaela loses the Tampa.
Oh, Teresa signed her contract, by the way. She signed a contract.
So she signed a contract for Tampa. So if Michaela loses that show, and if she can get second or third at the Rising, then Jake would do this. Jake, he'll bend over back with some of these girls. He'll probably give the qualification to the second runner up, because it make more sense, because if Andrea wins, there's no point to, that qualification just go nowhere, and then, he'll probably do like he did last year, where he gave special invite. He gave to Irene. Irene's not competing either this year, so he might give a special invite to someone else. We got here, my man KL the Wonder says, hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, hey, what's up, KL? Here we have is JB for the Female Bodybuilding channel. Hey, y'all. Hey, how you doing? And here we have Raheem Hamilton says, the Atlanta show was so bad with the first prize. Well, the thing is, not enough people want to put money behind these shows unless you're the men's division. And that's the thing is, you need sponsors who want to put money behind these shows, especially for the women. They can only get what they can get, and then you have to really, to get the bodies in, you have to pay the guys, because the guys not going to come there and compete for anything less than $5,000. And this gentleman knows this firsthand, being a IFB pro. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything. No, it's like when Floyd Mayweather used to fight. He never got out of the bed for anything less than $10 million. So here we have here. Also, we have here. This is from Female Body Channel. Hey Keith, uh, good recovery, and thank you JB. And shout out to him. So as you know, the numbers have been
Appreciate you.
kind of yeah, the numbers been kind of low for women's bodybuilding. I mean, the show in Chicago had 6 competitors. Atlanta had 7. I think the most was the Vancouver show and New York. I think New York and Vancouver were the most. And then that one show in the Portugal Pro only had 2 competitors. And it's just, it's I don't know, in your mindset, big bro, what's going on? What's happening?
Well, here's the thing that we have to you have to understand this simple. I mean, for one, it costs money for these girls to travel. And when like my man just said about the Atlanta show, the prize money is terrible. Well, it's always been terrible. We know that. It's always been terrible. This is nothing new. It's always been terrible. It's one of those things where the big shows like the Olympia let's just say the big show, the Olympia, and the women's world championships is where they can make their chips. But again, not everybody gets into that show because world championships is invite only, and the Olympia this year is win or get in or go home. Now, here's the problem with this whole situation. The IFBB has decided this year, as we all know, to don't use the point system, but use, if you win, you're in. If you don't, you go home. Well, here's the thing. If I love bodybuilding and I want to compete, and I think I have the chance to place in the top 5, then I'm going to compete. But the girls that we named prior to this topic are all girls that are top 5 girls, and they're in any show that they compete in. But if you're a girl who's on the bubble, or you're a girl that doesn't know if you're going to, you don't get the points now, why are you going to the show? So, of course, and again, who wants to travel to Portugal? Who wants to travel to some of these places knowing that if they don't win, that they're not going to get points, and there's no chance that they'll get an Olympia. So you might as well drive down the street and throw your money out the window, because that's what it boils down to. On top of that, it's like my man said, the prize money is not like, here's the thing, each men's show, because I've been a pro for 12, 13 years now, the smallest purse is 10 racks, smallest purse. For a woman, it may be $4,000, but you got to understand, you got to think about your coach, your training, your supplements, your suits, your makeup, your tan, your travel and everything else. That money's eaten up, and then you reach into your own pockets. For what, at the end of the day, to sit there and say, if I lose, I'm getting nothing out of the deal anyway? That's why I think after this year, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that they'll go back to the point system, because, and especially in women's bodybuilding, if you do it in 212, men's bodybuilding and open bodybuilding, that's fine, because that's where you don't have a million. Even though I think at the Olympia this year they may have had 27, 28 guys, but shit, just still hard to get in there off that point system stuff. But when you talk about wellness, women's bikini, no disrespect to them, figure fitness, I would say that'd be on the bubble. Men's physique and classic physique. There's so many competitors that you have to have a win or get in, because look at the Olympia this year. This is the first Olympia I didn't go to because of my injury, but there was like 100 dudes on stage. Well, that eats up a whole lot of time on stage. So here's the thing. Process of elimination is what? And all the people that are listening to me and George now, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't you just do that? Wouldn't that simplify things and bring back, and on top of that, George, we're talking about there's not as many shows for these girls to do in women's bodybuilding. And if you ain't got the money for these girls to make this, let's say, okay, we're cutting the shows, so let's cut the show, but bring up the prize money. So then, for first, second, I only think they do top 3. Then the third, fourth, and fifth, or fourth, fifth, and sixth get medals, or whatever the case would be, or maybe top 4, I don't know. But the money is just not there. So answer the question is, if the money's not there and you can't get in the show off of points, why are girls bust? And here's the thing. I watch ESPN. I watch it every day. When the whole LSU and the Iowa team played, it was one guy who said there, Swagoo said, sometime the men need to take lessons from the women, because the women go harder in women's basketball than the men. These women have to put a lot more time, including myself, because my wife's a pro, a lot more time into what the F they do compared to men and men's bodybuilding. So They need to get their just dues, but they haven't for years. And George, you and everybody else there who's been following women's bodybuilding for a long time, we all know this.
Yeah, that's
But
that's
that
true.
is
That's true.
who's going to be the money?
Yeah,
Who's going to be the
that's true of
money?
it.
That's the question. Who's going to
That's
be the money?
yeah, that's the truth of it. Here
And then
we
Jake,
have here.
love Jake.
Yeah, we got here AJ. We got here for the female judges. AJ will get the hello. Thank you, AJ. If that's you, yeah. Also, Raheem Hamilton says this. It says this is why not many male or female goes into bodybuilding. We all know the basketball and football are kids' game, but grown men play for the money and the love. But this is the main. The money is the main reason. We have here Balls Deep coming through. He says, "What up, a salute." Yeah, what up, salute, Balls Deep. He says, as usual, Chicago in here. Smash that like button. You watch the video, smash the like button, share, comment, and subscribe. And also, peace and blessings to the chat. And also, Raheem says this. He says, I mean, getting all excited for a pro card, and all you still have to do is pay for travel, hotel, stay, and pay dues. Why get so excited about getting the pro card? Well, just this weekend, a lady who I did an interview with and really cool with, Miss Ursa Morrow, just got a pro card. And you got to think about it. That's as you competed as a pro in the amateurs, and when we get that pro card, that's like the hard work you put in. There's been competitors that competing like 10, 15 years. Just saw at the same show, USA's. I talked about it. Amelia KL did a live stream about this. Katie Canary, who used to compete in 2000s, came back. She had competed in almost 15 years. You see someone like Carmen Brady, who competed also in the 90s, and she went off through movies and TV shows, come back. But yeah, the thing is that if there's people who would, if we all know it's about the risk is worth the reward, and if there's people willing to put the money for it, the shows would do good. Opportunities would be great. More women will come out and compete if there's more opportunity for them. But if you don't have point systems, which gives competitors opportunity to maybe go to Olympia and to spend money, and then if you don't have the money for the women for put the time in, because you think about it, it costs more for women to compete. And say about going hard, it's like same thing. I do content on MMA. I remember one of my favorite boxers, female boxers, Ann Brown. She always says like that. When women fight, we go hard. When guys fight, they act like they're making love, and that's what happened to Earl Spence. We fought Bud last weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that lays the problem up. You said, George, is the big thing is they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this situation, but the money's just not there. Here's the thing that we all understand is the comments that somebody made, and they didn't say it. The bodybuilding, since I've been in, is a poor man's sport. You put a lot in. Think about it. I played in the NFL for 8 years. I ran professional track for 10. I said I got into bodybuilding, not knowing what I was going to get into. But what sport? Not in the the USA Track and Field Associations, and not in the NFLPA. Have I ever? I paid my union dues, but guess what? Paying my union dues from all the injuries I've had and everything I've gone through in the NFL, and plus I get a pension. That's why I pay that money. I go to IFBB, no disrespect, but like you said, all these people chasing after this pro card, 14, 15 years. We understand to do a national level competitive show is for one class, it's no less than probably, when I was competing, it was 150, 175. Shit, I just seen something like 375 per class. You get this pro card, you turn around, and this happened to my wife, Tina. So Tina wins the Wings of Strength. Tina doesn't know that I find out that if you turn pro, that you can do the pro show the next day. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. Well, she turned pro, and after all this money we spent on the coach and the travel and everything else, I ended up having to write another check for $250 to get her pro card so she could compete the next day. What? Come on, man. You turn pro? That should be something. After the fact, if you want to sit there and say, okay, because there ain't no prize money when you turn pro, right? We all agree on that, audience. There's no much prize money when you turn pro. For all you guys who don't know, I think at nationals they may give you half reimbursement for your travel or some bullshit like that. But nationals is usually in Orlando or Miami, so the shit's super expensive. So that ain't really covering shit. But then at the end of the day, excuse my language, just because this is how I feel. But at the end of the day, the one thing they should do at a national level show is they should, if you, whether it's USA's, nationals, North Americans, all these big shows, because here's the thing, you cannot tell me, and I'll sit here and say, as a 4-time runner-up at USA's and nationals before I turned pro, and watching all the people and all the competitors, which has gotten bigger, that you ain't got the money to put out some prize money for the overall winner, pay for travel or whatever, and give them that first year of their pro card for free. They don't do that. And we talked about this. That's why they need some kind of players union or something, or athletes union or something. But here's the thing. Everybody's scared of the IFBB. And I don't
Yeah.
say, my wife competes. I understand the logistics of this sport. But at the end of the day, the legs that got cut underneath these girls this year, which I don't think any of them seen it coming, was when Wings of Strength stopped sponsoring girls. And that was a huge part of them being able to come out in flocks and compete and have fun and be at these Wings of Strength booths and representing women's bodybuilding. But now that's gone. Jake, I know this man. I love Jake Woods. He has pumped life back into the whole sport. But by pumping life back into the whole sport, you kind of deflated, in my opinion, and this is my humble opinion, you kind of deflated what you originally got into this thing to create, which was women's bodybuilding, and bringing it back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, because I was talking with some people, say some girls were getting paid much more than others, and then they're going to the shows, do the booths. That did help. Some say not as much compared to other ways, but yeah, that was something because it gives this year we had the Miss International, and your wife earned her pro card at that show about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they only had two. Originally, there was two girls. One of the girls I interviewed, Hannah Hussein, she dropped out, and the other girl, her name is Taylor. I forget how I say her last name. She, she got a pro card. Somebody said she didn't get a pro card. I don't know what the story was. And I saw a picture of her. She's working with Christina Mendoza with opposing, and they did have that same weekend of the Chicago. They had the NPC Team Collegiate and Masters. And I was talking to one lady who just did an interview yesterday. I said, you know what, you could have done that show. She's a physique competitor, but you could have competed in women's bodybuilding as a lightweight. If there was enough women there competing in that class, you would have got your pro card if you won in your class, and then you just compete in the overall for a shot to go to the Rising Phoenix. Here we got Raheem. He says this. Here's the idea. Don't give anyone pro cards. The ones who have pro cards, you can put in their contract, airfare, hotel will be covered to any top show that they get into. Also, he says this: bodybuilding is a poor man's sport. And he says, see, Keith, you got a retirement from the NFL. Yeah. And also he says, that's what I'm talking about. You turn pro and you still have to pay. Come on now. Even when you do master shows. I remember I got this from Monica Perez when she competed at Masters, Masters class at the I think it was the Legion Sports Fest. This before we did an interview. We were talking to Monica, and she told me how, I have to pay to compete at Masters. Wait a minute, you're pro. Why you gotta pay? I don't say it's an amateur, but why you gotta pay as a pro? And some other ladies tell me how, they had to pay. And I mean, but then they get a prize, or the prize money match is not that much. I mean, you might get, I think the last show was like $500-$600 for first place, but still,
Well, you know what they do, George.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they do. The prize money is based off of, and how bullshit is this? And I'll say bullshit because I did one of those shows when it first started. Prize money. So you go and you enter the show, which as an open, when I compete in open at Tampa, any show, Chicago, I've done them all. You send in your contract and you're in the show. They don't cover your airfare. They don't cover hotel, because those are invite shows only, but you don't have to pay entry fee. Now what they're doing, the Gary Udicks of the world and so forth, is I think Richard is the only probably one of the only guys that doesn't make you pay to enter his show, or maybe he does. I can't remember. That was the last show I won was Baltimore Masters. But anyway, what happens is now they say everybody it's $250 to enter the Master Pro Show. What happens is these promoters now take that money, put it all into one pot for your class, and whatever that money is, they kind of break it up and make that the prize money. How horse shit is that? You know, you don't do it. I say, so here's my question, I guess, to the audience. And like, I think somebody else says, well, then why give out a fucking pro card? If you're going to make me pay, why are you giving me a pro card? Why not? You know, I don't understand. I'm turning pro as a master, but when I turn pro as a master, I am still got to pay for $250 pro card every year. I think it's $275 and more than that. More than that. I haven't renewed mine for a year because I ain't competing. But you pay for a pro card, then you got to pay for entry fee. So you got to pay for entry fee, and then my entry fee is dispersed amongst the guys I'm competing against if I win or if I'm in third. What? That's just how crazy this has gotten. Seriously, think about it. You are paying for a pro card, which is, I don't even know how much anymore. Last time I paid, I think it was $275. And then you're paying as a master to go into a show only to get back some of the money that you paid to get in the damn show. So you might as well be an amateur, because that's what amateurs do, right? The only difference is the amateur didn't have to pay for the pro card. The amateurs had to pay the entry fee to try to get the pro card, but eventually some of those people are going to end up in that realm anyway. Man, boy, it's a good racket. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I was talking to a lady who competed at Atlanta, and she competed in Chicago last week. She's 52. She looks pretty good for 52. She says she doesn't want to do masters just yet because she says she don't have the physique for masters. That's a debate. But you know, here's the thing: is you have that show the world championship masters coming up. They could make that Olympic qualification because you could do like this. If you're going to treat masters like amateurs, then do like this. I know some women will compete in the same. You might see one woman will compete in 40 plus, one will 40, 45 plus. But as long as you have enough competitors from each of those classes, you know, you might have one woman compete in 3 classes, and then if you have enough of them around, like at least 2 or 3, they could compete for qualification, for Olympic qualification, like an amateur. You have the overall who gets the pro card, because that's why they created the master show, because it's supposed to be like a substitute for the for when you got with the point system, because you got people like Don Sleeve competing in the show. I was surprised when I saw Rashawn on the list. I said, Rashawn's over 40, because and I told your wife, I said, Tina is 40 plus. You could have applied. But I think there was the time she thought it was still 45. But when I saw Rashawn, I said,
well, here's the thing. At that time, George, we had met. And this is a personal conversation that I had with Alina Popa and Jake. They at the time they were battling over the age, where they want to make the age for the men and the women. This is after World Championships last year when Tina competed. They were still trying to decide. So Tina, speaking on my wife's behalf, didn't know that she could, because I think Alina wanted it. Jake wanted it 40. Alina wanted 45. And by the time it was all said and done, we thought it was one age and it wasn't another, which, like you said, it makes sense. Yeah, because, of course, she would have jumped in that show. But they just didn't know at the time which direction, because of the men's as well, like the Brandon Currys, because they didn't want people – like Dexter was never going to – Dexter's not going to – Dexter did it, and that's why guys stopped getting – when they had Ask Master Olympia, which was in Florida somewhere, Dexter went and won it. Dennis James was still competing at the time. And Dexter went and won it, and he was still competing as an open guy. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to see an open Olympia guy who's over 40 and go into the Master Olympia over 40 and be able to compete. You either have to do, in my opinion, whether it's men or women, you have to pick one or the other. You shouldn't be able to do both. And on top of that, it's in Romania. So who's paying for that shit? You know what I'm saying? Is the competitor paying for it to go over there because it's an invite? Or is it because, again, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? Women are not making enough sport in this money, and that was the topic topic of your conversation. My whole philosophy in life is if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So if I'm not reaping some kind of reward for it, meaning points or some kind of money for it, what the hell would I keep doing it for? I love stuff, but I love my bank account being fuller than the love of something any day of the damn week. So it don't make sense if you're paying a girl $3,000, $4,000 for prize money, and the girl who comes in second goes, well, either I go to the next show and dump more money in, hopefully they got a good sugar daddy or something, or they got a good job, go to the next show and hope, like I think the girl from Chicago, the girl who I thought looked phenomenal with the blonde girl. What's her name again?
Jessica Martin.
Jessica looked phenomenal. Yeah. And Christina looked phenomenal. And, you know, but again, now Jessica got to go to Tampa and compete against somebody else in hopes that she qualifies, because if she don't, she's out, right?
Mm-hmm. Because there's no point going all the way to...
And you look at all that talent,
Yeah. And there's no point to go all the way to...
all that talent,
that whole package she brought to the stage. Well, that's like, because she took last year off, remember? She took 2 years.
If you don't qualify?
She took 2 years off. Because the last time I competed was 2021, when she took second to Michaela at Omaha. Yeah. That had been 2 years. I was talking to her. She told me she had got the virus that year, and that's why she couldn't compete much anymore. She got sick, and she had to need time to heal. And then she took she took last year's off, and took the rest of 21 off, and last year off. And Imal says, yeah, it's been nearly 2 years. Right here, we got here.
But look at that.
Yeah. Right here, we got here. My man Raheem says, George, the real talk is not the steroids or the supplements. The push people away from bodybuilding is the lack of no funds, prize money. That's true, yeah. Also, he said, my man KL says, yo, this sport don't make any sense at times. That's true. My man JW 1000, he says, that's crazy. Also, we have here from my man Raheem says, Keith, respond to my question. It's true that when two teams go to the Super Bowl, both teams get paid for showing up for the Super Bowl, but the winning team get more than the other team. So that's true. So yeah,
it's incentives. It's in my contract. If I go to the Super Bowl, if we go to, everybody in an NFL player's contract or in the MLB, my son plays for the White Sox. In an MLB contract, there's incentives in your contract. There's no incentive in the sport for nothing unless you get there. And every game I'm making money. Every game I play in, I'm making money. I get a salary, base salary, and everything else is incentives in my contract. So there's nothing in this sport that is incentivized unless you win or you place in the top 5. And for women, no offense at all, the money's trash. So I'm like, it is. No disrespect for them. I'm there. I'm the fighting calls, not because my wife's a pro. I'm in fighting calls because if we really look at how hard these girls have to work and what they have to do compared to a guy, it's no comparison. It's not. It's just not. So, they go through all these trials and tribulations. When Hella Trevina is taking a year off, I think she's in Dubai or some shit. Maybe she just loving life or whatever. I think she was in Mexico the year before. But it's one of those things where it's like here's a prime example, guys. Here is the example, George, I'll give to you all. Why do you guys all think that Kai Green is no longer competing? Because Kai Green, Dana Bailey, there's some people in the world understand, and Kai put me onto this. We did an appearance at T.G. Fletcher's gym the first year he didn't do the Olympia. He says, this is Kai's words exactly, and he'll tell you, quote, verbatim, because Kai don't give a shit. Get what you can get out of the sport, not what the sport can get out of you. Kai Green's net worth is worth more money not competing in bodybuilding now. He's in the Stranger Mind, the Stranger, whatever, the Stranger something thing on Netflix.
Stranger Things.
Line, his own Stranger Things, his own shoe line, Mortal Kombat. He has his own art deal. Kai Green understood after a while that No offense to the IFBB. F the IFBB. His net worth is what? Go look it up. Is and Kai was homeless. Is more now than it was when he was competing as a competitor. That's crazy. Dana Lynn Bailey. Her net worth is more than she would ever have made in the IFBB. So some of these people are starting to understand, like, you know what? I got what I needed. My notoriety, Kai Green did Generation Iron, which blew up for him big time. And he understood that I have a different avenue, and I know the story, and I'm not going to put it out there why he didn't compete in Olympia, why he's not competing in Olympia, because Kai understood that the powers to be, I would say that, he felt we're not going to let him win the Olympia. So he's like, I'm out. I got shit. I got every pair of his shoes. He got clothes. He got movies. He had a supplement line. He left Muscle Man for the same reason. He asked Muscle Man for more money. He made Muscle Man a ton of money in Europe. Muscle Man didn't want to pay him. Kai Green started his own supplement line, which I think he just sold to Red, whoever Aaron Siemens company is. But he sold his supplement company. Huh?
Redcon.
Yeah, Redcon. Sold a supplement company with them. Jumped on board with Redcon. And the dude, I think the last time I looked at his net worth was like close to $15 million. And he doesn't compete. But Kai understood what the sport, what he needed to get out of the sport to make his name and his brand. And he's like Ronnie Coleman, which people understand there's only certain guys in this sport right now who are actually making money. Jay Cutler's, Ronnie Coleman's, Kai Green's. There's only a 10, maybe 10, 15 guys who are actually making money from doing this all their lives. So if that's guys, and they can do all this other stuff, you won't see a woman with a supplement line. You don't see women in magazines. You don't see women in half the things the guys can do. So just think what their net worth is. I mean, Andrea probably, she's on one, you don't try to be in other people's pockets, but Andrea won 3 world championships. That's $150,000 right there, plus 3 cars. Add another 150, that's 300,000 plus the Olympia titles, whatever that's worth, this, that, and other. If you're not that top echelon right there as a woman in that top 5, and now Margie Marge is retired, Irene's not competing, Helena, you said step down. They're understanding that it's like Helena, she sold one of her cars. She goes, it's great to get these cars from the world championships, but after the first year, you got to pay taxes on it. I live in California, she said. You know what the taxes are on the Hellcat? Seriously, think about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to think about it. We got this from my man J Warrior 1000. He says all these get a pro card, and also it's from right here. Responding to him, he says J Warrior 1000. They have to reduce the amount of pro cards that they give to people. Yeah, because sometimes at the USA's they had 3 women, I think, in the physique divisions, 4 or 5 in like the pro card, the first 2, and then he had 2 in women's bodybuilding because there's only 2 divisions, 2 classes at that show at the USA's, light heavyweight and heavyweight. You usually have like middleweight, lightweight, but they only had 2 classes for this year's because there's so many not enough women competing. Also, this is from J Warrior 1000. The Tampa Bay Pro, Teresa Vasic, Michaela Aycock, and Jessica Martin are all good to compete against each other. Who will win this show? It's really up to how they look. This is from man K the Wanderer. I wish Jessica Martin the best. And I think Jessica probably gonna win. She just come in because I saw a picture she posted a while back. She looked like she got a little tighter. She was really good at Chicago. And right, he says, I'm telling you, the women need to go into mainstream media, movies, television, web series, something. That's a possibility. But the thing is, most of the companies don't want to use female bodybuilders unless they're using for some kind of either a fetish thing or some kind of something or another or whatever they can use. But it's hard to get work in the mainstream. And also, right, he says it should be in bodybuilding's contract that when you get the invite to the Mr. and Mr. Olympia, you get paid. It should be, but who runs Jake runs it, but the Olympia is not going to let that. And KL says I think a web series be better for them. Raheem, mainstream media and movies ain't trying to hear them. Yes, yeah, because that'd be better just to go like you can do like an IG series, YouTube thing. I mean, because I remember I think I told you a few times like someone like Chelsea and Andrea and a couple others, they should be doing like pressers like going to like networks like Good Morning America, Today Show, NBC, the CBS Morning News, CNN, ESPN. Go to I think if they Jake he knows people, and he should have when he was doing the basketball program, he should have had try to get his phase on and get in front of the camera and educate people about bodybuilding. That would have helped. That could have helped it in the long run, but people don't understand it.
Well, here's the thing. So a long time ago, I don't know if you watched the thing on Colette Nelson was her name. She's Jay Palumbo. And remember, they came out on that thing on MSNBC, putting pretty much the IFBB on blast because, again, it's a vicious cycle because we're talking about it all. We're talking about it all over again. We're talking about women not making enough money. Even women, we're talking about how they had to. I don't know if you ever watched it, how they had to practice their speech because their speech changed, because their voice changed, and all this other stuff. Here's the problem that we have, in my opinion, in this sport. Jake has this great studio, which I've never been to. I've heard great things about it. He has unbelievable production cast. What you're saying is correct. He needs to reach out to the news people and all this other stuff because, I mean, it's our sport in general. We get it. Your audience gets it, but it's a niche thing. It's not like baseball. It's not like football. It's not like, basketball. It's not like softball or soccer or any other thing. Soccer, bodybuilding, especially for women, is a niche thing. And it's kind of like, it's not for everybody type of thing. So somebody like Jake with his studio, you can't just do your stuff at the studio and expect every person, you're going to reach every person because only people watching that stuff is people who actually follow bodybuilding. How many people actually follow bodybuilding? I don't know. As far as that's concerned, how many people follow women's bodybuilding is probably even lower than what following men's bodybuilding. So what you're saying is correct, but again, the message that I remember when I did the Tampa Pro for my first year when I was a rookie, and these women didn't want to talk. Like Jay Palumbo was walking around interviewing all the athletes, and these ladies literally didn't want to talk because their voices. And you got thousands of people there. It's like meet the press type of deal. So it sucks because you got these women, some of these women, and some of them, Andrea Shaw is beautiful. My wife, I could say, is beautiful. Some of these girls I see are absolutely gorgeous. But some of these girls, at the time, that's why, let's just call it what it is. Linda Murray walked away from the sport because she wasn't willing to push her body to the limits, such as some other people. Let's just say that. When you see Linda Murray to this day, she's one of the most beautiful. She's like an Andrew Shaw. She's one of the most beautiful black women I've ever encountered, period. Because Linda Murray understood she got what she needed. That's why she's still the all-time winningest bodybuilder in the sport. But she wasn't willing to compromise her morals or standards in order to go what was starting to trend. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She didn't want to start good. Kim Krzyzewski came in and brought a little bit harder look, and Linda's like, yeah, I think I'll bow out. Not because she didn't think she could beat her, but she's like, do I really want to do what I have to do in order to compete with her at that look? And then Iris came in and it got even worse. And eventually the sport disappeared because as human beings, not even as fans, some people just don't want to see that.
And see that those last 2 years, 2013, 2014, it did feel like they wanted to get a female bodybuilder that worked the idea, who had great muscle, great femininity. They could have gave the title to Alina. But they went with Iris because they went by the standard of what they want to see. And even with Iris, she kind of was more about what she can get out of the sport because she has a gym now, a couple of gyms in Vegas now. She's making the money. She did try to come back in 2020 and compete, but she got sick. But now she's moving on. She's doing like what Kai doing, what Dan Lee Bailey doing. She's making her money. Here, man, Jay Warrior saying the fame, that's why Dan Lee Bailey and Kai Green is the reason why they stopped competing. Yeah, that's true. Also, He
Yep.
says Kai is doing what Arnold did with bodybuilding, and that's true. Arnold, he said like this. He says, yeah, Arnold last show was 1980. Never looked back, and and then we got here from Jay a Warrior says MuscleTalk is possibly maybe the Tampa might do the Tampa Paddock Bay show. That's a possibility. Also, this is from KL says Shaw needs a way to put her face onto a Wheaties box. They're not going to do it because you know what? They don't even put athletes much on Wheaties boxes anymore. Wheaties, that's old, man. That's like 1980. Caitlyn Bruce Jenner, or they don't really do that anymore.
I mean, think about it. The only girl, one of the only women who ever faced the cover of Muscular Development magazine was who? You remember? Dana Lynn Bailey, only one. And Dana was on the cover of Muscular Development because guess what? When you went to and this is still to this day, when Dana Line goes to the Arnold and has her booth, they had to move her booth to a different spot because the backlog of people jammed up to see Dana. Even when she wasn't competing, she still has this notoriety about herself. But Dana Lynn and her husband Rob have marketed herself very well. Where she's like, I don't win the Olympia title. Who cares? I won the first one that you can ever win. I'm the first ever queen physique competitor, but I'm making way more money doing what I am now. So who cares?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we all love the sport. The question is simply this: if I can make $1 million doing something that's not as hard on my body, but I can take the chance of making $1 million doing this that's really hard on my body, which one are you going to take? You're going to take the other one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can tell people, I said, being a track guy and running for Nike forever, playing the NFL forever, it's one of those things where this sport, I love it, but I don't love it enough after watching Sean and Cedric and George and all the girls that I know can pass away in the sport. Like one of your viewers that said, the risk versus the reward is just not there for me anymore, or not there for a lot of people that tried. Sean tried to come back. Cedric tried to come back. George is at the Olympia. I was at the Olympia when they found him in this room. It's unfortunate enough that, and again, at the end of the day, we've talked about this before, George, and amongst all the women as well, what is the IFBB doing besides saying we're going to watch diuretics more and we're going to do this? What are they doing for these athletes who's putting, men or women, who put their blood, sweat, and tears into the sport? What are they doing to help these families or anything? Because I would be interested to know what the net worth is of the IFBB, because it has to. I've been to the Olympians. I've been to all these shows, nationals, the NPC and the IFBB, because it has to be a lot of money. Because if the average show for a national show like nationals probably is, let's say, 1,000 competitors times $375 per class. You do the math. That's all I'm saying. That's crazy.
That's a good chunk of change, because like this. If like the NPC, I did interview a lady who just competed, like I said, a couple of shows a few weeks ago. She talked about how really the thing is on us, the fans, because we are the ones who demanding this and demanding that. But the same time like this, it's also that the NPC and IFBB needs to set the guidelines, because I know you want to cater to us, the fans. I understand that, we do want more, but at the same time, you should be putting investment into your product, and that is the athletes. Like I do when I do my interviews with ladies, I say I don't come to see Jim Mannion. I don't come to see Sandy Williamson. I don't come to see Tim Gardner or Jake Wood. I don't even come to see Bob Ciccarello or Bob. I call him Bobby Chick. I don't come to see them. I come to see y'all on stage. And and why don't they really put it into athletes? This is from a man, Raheem. He says this. He says, well, Andrea needs to hire a publicist. That costs money too. Yeah, but she probably, if she could, she probably would. Also, he says It should be outreach to mainstream media. You never know. They could be in a movie. It's all about trying. Yeah, you got to try. And also, Raheem says this: wrestling is a small thing, but Vince McMahon made wrestling a mainstream thing. Yes, because wrestling. Not you think about back in the day how wrestling used to be, and so you push the women who can talk, not go over the top. You get the ones that look like females and talk like females to promote the sport. You can get the women who don't have the who don't sound like Vin Diesel, Fast and the Furious, like it's about family. If it gets, if you get the women who sound like very Andrea, her voice is very feminine. There's someone who even fake it a bit. They can really they really practice on how to change their tone a little bit. And some women especially someone who had natural, very squeaky voices, it just they just get a little deeper to it. And some women just got natural deep voices. I remember Tina Lockwood, and we were talking about yesterday. We talked about live stream. Tina Lockwood, she had a very feminine voice. It wasn't that deep. She had like a regular girl's voice when she hear her talk, and she was huge, big. She wasn't that big. A lot of people. She was like 5'5", I think you said, but she just looked bigger when you see the videos and the because you just stand you stand in a picture by yourself and nobody else beside you. You like I said, Lale says you think you look bigger than you are. Like kind of like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. We say Dalton says, "I thought you were bigger." We got here. My man KL, he says this. He says, Big Keith, I agree. There are beautiful women in bodybuilding, but taken to the extreme is going to make them monstrous, not in a good way. Also, this is from JW. He says, Keith Williams, who do you think will be the top 5 finalists at this year Miss Olympia in the women's bodybuilding division? Well, let's say this. Top 5, yes, but it has to be top 3 qualified this year because, as you know, it's top 3 that qualified to get to go back next year's Olympia. But Hella's out. This is one person who I feel like this. Hella is, when I was in Mexico, because Hella was there because she had that surgery on her shoulder. She couldn't travel too much. Hella, I think she needed more time to stew a bit. I mean, she could have skipped that year's Olympia. And I feel like if she did, Margie probably would have either Margie. Honestly, I felt that Bronca deserved the 3rd place spot over Hella. I followed Bronca Djokovic. Bronca looked great. Her physique was in good condition. She's like Michaela. She's a little shorter, but she's Michaela's like really short. Bronca's just maybe an inch or two taller. But it's just so much is going on.
So if it was my top 5 right now, Andrea is my number 1 girl. If we're going based off of last year, Helena's out. But here's the thing, like you said about Helena, I seen a picture of Helena at the beach, and I was like, "Holy bucket, she got big, and not in a good big way." And the biggest thing about Helena is controlling her waistline. That's why she poses the way she does. Martin is who the girl. I mean, Christina Mendoza. She, I love Christina. I love her. Her boyfriend or fiance Joey. Because she's like can't wait to grace the stage with Andrea. But again, at the end of the day, you can look good for one show, but you got to understand to knock out the champ. It's like Kai with Phil. To knock out the champ, you got to knock out the champ. And Andrea and these people, they save up for one show. She saved up for one show. She ain't got to waste all her time chasing after all like the Jessica Martins and all this other stuff. She's getting ready for the World Championships and the Olympia. That's all that matters. So she's gonna have plenty of juice in the tank. And remember, Andrea almost died last year. She said because she went. I think she got too big last year and had to diet hard and tried to take diet pills and didn't work out for her, but came back on the world stage and smashed everybody as usual. But it's going to be hard to say because we don't know what's going to happen at the Tampa. We don't know what's going to happen at these other shows. But Andrea, I would say Christina Mendoza can be in there. I'm hoping and praying that my wife, she won't be in there this year because she's doing worlds based off of, the point system, like George was saying earlier. I could see Martin being in there. Michaela is also another good little competitor. The girl who took, I don't know, but it all depends. Again, Are these girls willing to make the investment if they place like Jessica? She's going to Tampa. Teresa is another girl that can be in there as well. But it's tough to say because these girls have to win. They don't have points. So if here's my problem I have with this whole not point system. If Jessica doesn't win, is she done for the year? Probably, because that's 2 shows. If Teresa doesn't win, is she done for the year? Teresa, excuse me, at one point in time said she was going to be done after, what show was that she did, babe, the first show? Toronto? Did she did the Toronto show? The whatever, when she lost that show. I thought Teresa was going to be, she had kind of made the way she handed she shut the door, she was kind of making the monologue as she wasn't going to compete anymore after this year. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you don't win and you don't get in, you keep chasing and chasing, but there's only so many shows this year that you can chase after to get into Olympia. So I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, that's a hard thing to say because it depends what kind of financial backing they got behind them is one, because we know it ain't cheap. Like you said, they don't put on banana hammocks, as you would say, George, like us, and just throw a tan on. They got the hair. They got the hair. They got the hair. They got the makeup. They got the suits. They got so much more that goes into what they do compared to guys that is not that easy, and it's expensive. So this is hard. I can't even. I would have to see who all qualify based off the rules changing. If it was a point system, and you knew people like Jessica and Michaela, and some of these girls were close and the girl who placed, I think, third at the Chicago were close because of points, I would probably be able to give you a better synopsis. But because of this new rule, it's kind of hard to say at this point in time.
Yeah, I know they're going to talk about that's right here. That's Melissa Type, who switched from women's physique
that's third,
to,
right?
Yeah, she got third at Chicago. There was some talk that she might have won the show, but I think she might need a little more time to stew a bit. She's a lot thicker. She got a good shape, but she might just need a little more time to stew some more and develop. But I think she's going to test herself. Now we got here, that's Wendy Sanchez right there. We have Melissa, we got Jessica, and also we have here Christina. And even though in some aspects I'm looking here, I think truthfully Jessica was just a little bit better condition. Just a bit. And
here's my problem. And here's my problem that I have with this. If she doesn't, I would imagine that she would win Tampa. But if she doesn't, and some of these girls who are competing in these other shows, it's just a waste of talent. So not having that point system is just wasting all this. These girls look good, and it's just wasting talent that they put in for, like Jessica taking off. I find it hard to believe, and I don't know Jessica that well, and I've only seen the pictures that my wife showed me of her. But I find it hard to believe that somebody's going to beat her at Tampa because she just. You're absolutely right, George. If you look, I've seen the pictures from behind. She was harder. Her conditioning was better. I'm not taking anything away from Christina because Christina is a beautiful young lady as well and looks great. She's always had those monstrous quads. Her conditioning,
Her lats were bigger.
Yeah, her conditioning was. Yeah, exactly. Her conditioning was the best I've ever seen it because remember, the last 2 years she's just dropped out of the Worlds. She dropped out of the Worlds and didn't compete. So, after competing in the show, then she'll just drop out. So this is the best Christina Mendoza. But again, when we're talking about this, can you maintain it for when the Olympia comes around? And again, it's just like Steve and Sandy. When you step in the ring with the champ, you better be able to knock the champ the fuck out. Bottom line, you better be able to have a right hook that can knock Andrea out, because if not, you ain't beating her. Because again, what people have to understand, the Phils of the worlds and the Kais of the worlds and the Jays of the worlds and the Flexes of the worlds and these guys who compete only in the Olympias and the Shans, they understood they didn't have to qualify. They understood what the big check was. Because think about it this way. Let's just think about it this way. If the biggest check in Olympia for men, let's just take men, not women, is $400,000. Why the hell would I do anything else? Because a guy can do, remember, the highest probably paid check besides besides the Olympia is the Arnold. So if I can make, let's say, 300,000 at one show versus chasing all these little $10,000 checks, why? I'm the champion. I already got the check from last year. You can do 5 shows and still don't make what I did last year. Think about it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Andrea made 100. Andrea made what? Let's say if you count the World Championships and Olympia, she probably made about $500,000 last year. If that, maybe give or take a little bit. What does she have to do? What else does she have to do? She don't have to do nothing.
And plus, she has a contract with Mutation, so that's money right there. Also, she's working
a contract with the Screen Company.
Yeah. Also, she's working with Sid Gillen and Whitney Jones. They're supposed to be planning a show for next year. She gets her hands in a lot of stuff. I mean, she gets a new car, and she's got a truck.
Here's the thing about Andrea. They've already been fed. Everybody's been fed. Here's the thing about Andrea. Andrea is a girl who's a stealth bomber. She flies beneath the radar. She's the one girl, I would say, besides somebody like Tina, that can go into the movie because they're very soft-spoken, they're very feminine, and they have a look that could be mainstream. But again, I think the last bodybuilder actually that I've seen in a movie, you know who that was? It was Kim Krzyzewski in The Sale.
Yeah.
That was the last women bodybuilder that we've seen actually in. Oh no, I'm wrong. But she never competed. It was with Ben Steeler and she was God. What was her name? She was a heavyweight woman.
Actually, Carmen Brady.
Chris Morrell.
Who?
No, Chris Morrell. Chris Morrell. She did. Chris Morrell did. She did. Huh? Chris Morrell did the movie with. She turned pro, but never competed. But she was in the movie with. God dang it. It'll come to me. But she was the only girl who never competed. But she did some movies. But again, at the end of the day, Andrea Shaw has so many things going on for her that people don't understand. Because guess what? She has an appeal to her. Women, she's probably besides Lynn Morris, one of the most beautiful Black women who ever graced the stage of women's bodybuilding. Andrea is just like Steve said, it's just pretty to look at. So when you're talking about this, how do you beat that? And she's saving up, she's stacking her chips for this one show or 2 shows, Worlds and Olympia. So it's hard to beat that.
And also you look at someone like, I hear people talking about Natalia Kovalev. Well, Natalia, she is kind of attractive looking, but one thing about Natalia is she's too top heavy, and that is going to, like if you look at like Alicia Young, Alicia. I mean, I think Alicia, her best look was 2020. She was in the best condition I can remember. She took 4th at the Rising. They was hoping that she'd come back next year and probably qualify for the Olympics. She already had the points. But then, I think I followed Alicia. She had some setbacks. Her mother got sick. She was in a wreck on her scooter. She said she's going to come back in 2024. But like I said, the one thing is, if you're too overly proportioned, especially in a certain area, like if you look at, Christina, she has the big quads, the big thighs. Same thing like Margie. But you're not as even. If you just mostly, you're going to get 2 volleyballs. Like I know Isabel Terrell. You've seen Isabel lately.
Oh my God! I love Isabel. I love Isabel. But again, it's like, here's the thing: when you gotta lift up your titties to show your abs. Come on, man. It's like really. It's like going to porn in. If that's what you want to do, I don't understand it. Going back to Alicia Young, I mean, she did the Omaha like years ago, like I would say like 4 or 5 years ago, if not longer than that, and should have won the show. But here was the problem. This is when kind of women's bodybuilding kind of started leaving it. She was too hard. She was too this. She was too that. And Alicia is not like a very masculine looking girl either. She's very feminine looking. She's not one of these masculine looking girls. She's very feminine looking. I love Alicia, her and my daughter, when they go to shows, play together and all this other stuff. But when you're coming back to the boob thing, it's just like, come on, get something that looks natural, it's balanced to your body. Don't go up there looking cartoonish and it's like guys who using all this synth-on shit, that you can see in their shoulders and in the quads and calves. Quit looking cartoonish. Look how you supposed to look on stage. Like I said, if you look at, and this is a conversation we had before we went on air, if you look at Christina Mendoza, what she did, all you guys watching, go back, because I'm a man who studies the game. Go back and look at Christina Mendoza's routine. Nothing's wrong with it. But then go back and go to the Olympia and look at Andrea Shaw's routine. They call them biters, but she pretty much bit everything, which is smart. Because if you want to beat the champ, sometimes you got to steal some of the champ's moves. And so she took some of the champ's moves because the champ wasn't in that show and used them as her own, and she looked good. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I say, yes, I'm seeing what I'm thinking. Go back. Y'all think I'm crazy, George. I study shit. I looked at this, I was like,
well, that old saying, imitation is a great form of flattery. So she's flattering Andrea.
I see that's a saying with imitation is a great form of flattery.
Yeah, but we got here from KL says, George, I think Serena was on a box of these athletes recently. It's been years ago Serena was on a box of Wheaties, KL. Also, he says, but I understand that they won't put Andre on a box of cereal. Yes, true. He says he loves Tina Lockwood. Also, he says, can you guys break down the point system? Am I trying to understand that? We'll get to that point here. We've got somebody else's. He says show a picture of Chris Morrell. I'll probably pull one later. And also, this is from Raheem Hamilton. What about the female Bobby who was in the movie Sandlot? And this is where JW says that was, Adam Sandler movie. That was Chris Morrell in Grown Ups 2. That was Chris Morrell. I remember her.
That was Chris Morrell.
Yeah, and also Carly Bay was in Napoleon Dynamite. She was the girlfriend of the dude, the karate dude.
Yes.
That Uncle Rico tried to push up on.
Yep.
And also, Isabel's going to send me to hell the way I'm thinking. I know a girl who's a friend of Isabel, and we're really cool. We talk stuff. Say I tell her, so that Isabel posts stuff. I say, you know what? I don't know why your girl made me think about Rocky movies. I'm like, I don't know why. I want to. I just want to like, oh, you're yeah, but it's just, I think I can say this: if you're not proportioned, like so one time I thought that Andrea's pecs were so big, I thought she had breast pecs. She just got big natural pecs.
Yeah.
If you're not as proportioned, like there was, I think you remember Barbara Caridi. She said she retired because the fact was she wasn't. But you're getting, you could get basketballers in your chest. You look at Wyvett Bova, and that's something she does. She does porn, and that's her thing. But with competition, that does take away from how you look. I mean, I'm like I said, I have nothing against breast implants. That's what you use. Andrea Sauer. I tell Andrea Sauer, she has a great chest. Her breasts don't take too much away from her physique because they're not too large. Your wife has a great chest. Hers don't take away too much from her physique. It's just when you get them, be moderate. And I know some ladies go in to get them fixed, repaired, whatever else.
Proportion to your body. Don't be one of these clown ass girls who looking like they. If you're gonna do that, then go into porn. But don't look like one of these clown. It's the most amazing thing to see these girls who get these boobs and then you lift up your titties to show your abs. What? You shouldn't have to do that.
Denise Messina used to do that when she could.
Yeah.
Denise Messina used to do that when she compete. When she was on stage, and I remember somebody told me that she don't need to pull up her boobs. The judge is down, they can see your abs from down below. You don't need to pull up your boobs. Yeah. This is from my man Charlotte Millen. He says, "Good afternoon, thank you, Sean. Good afternoon to you too." And we're gonna go back to some pictures. We're gonna look at pictures from the Chicago Pro. Again, I'm gonna pull them up. This is from Melissa Tite. And as you know, the debate was that the numbers were so low. I thought Chicago usually a bigger show, and I thought it'd be more bodies. but it seems like this year was, wasn't the best year for Chicago Pro. And also,
Again, we're still talking about the same thing. People, listen. The reason why the numbers aren't the same is because if you don't win, you don't get in. So girls are, and this is, I'm throwing it out there, not knowing if it's a fact, but girls are not going to jump in the show where they know. I mean, look at you had Christina, you had Jessica, you had these girls. The top three girls were stellar, and I'm not dissing the 4, 5, and 6, but the top three girls were stellar, and you got to beat one of those girls to get into the Olympia. So if you're not going to beat one of those girls, and the whole goal, maybe some, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some girls' job, maybe some girl is to get on stage. But these girls that I know and my wife are trying to get on stage to get to the Olympia. That's the bottom line. And if they can't get there by points, like somebody asked earlier to explain the point system, it boils down to, I think it's the top 5 get points, used to get points. Top three get points. Now, if you're not in the top 3, it don't matter anyway because you got to win to get in, or you go home or go to the next show, and hopefully you win that show. That's why the numbers are down.
yeah.
That's why. The
Also,
numbers not down because girls want to compete.
yeah, and this is the winner if who won for Mr. International because she was the only competitor. Her name is Taylor RG. I can't say her name right. She's the only girl who competed at the show. There was supposed to be 2 because I interviewed one a while back. She said she was going to do the show, Mr. International, but she decided to drop out, and which is this one girl, and I think she got a pro card. I think there's a picture somewhere with
which is
mhm.
no disrespect, which is horse shit because here at the end of the day, whether it's a national show, a USA show, a pro qualifier period, you shouldn't be able to allow, and I don't care if it's men or women. You shouldn't be able to go into a show because there's one competitor in the show and win the show. You should have at least a minimum of 3 competitors in the show. I don't care what anybody says. I got my pro card. How many were in your class? 1. What? There's that one. I would, you talking to a 4-time USA Nationals runner-up. There was no less than freaking 25 guys in my class before I turned pro. But yet, and then I remember doing an interview with Dave Palumbo and him saying, "Hey, the Nationals are giving pro cards out to first and second place finish. How you feel about that?" I'm sitting here like George. I'm like sitting here like, Dave, are you fucking really asking me this question? How I feel about it? I'm a 4-time runner-up at USA's Nationals, and at the end of the day, do I want to really be the guy who comes in second place and gets his pro card? No, I want to win. Coming in second place is for last. Coming in second place and getting a pro card, whatever. You should have to win. You should have to have more than 3 competitors in your class to get a pro card. But that's just my opinion. I know I'm probably going to get backlash for it, but I'm just saying. You shouldn't be able to go into a show. Think when Tina turned, her and Christina Mendoza, the champion from this year's Chicago Pro, battled head to head, and it was 7 girls in their class, 6 or 7 girls in their class, and it was a tough class, but that's a show. Because think about it. You got Christina, who just won in Chicago. Tina was Rookie of the Year. That was a tough class. The guys I competed against, back in the day was the Steve Kuklos and a whole Juan Morels and all that other stuff. That was, competitive bodybuilding. But you going into a show, really, George, and they gave out a pro card. It was one girl in particular who won a pro card a couple years ago at the Wings of Strength, and I didn't even know she was a bodybuilder. When I seen her, she no definition, Harley, no nothing, but they give her a pro card. Really? Is that what we're doing?
I know.
And then you're
I know you're
wondering
talking
why.
about. I know you're talking about. I remember her. She competed. She competed at Puerto Rico with Rashana and Julia Furry, and she looked more like she should have been either a tall wellness, or a flat chested bikini girl, or a figure girl with no conditioning. She was not women's bodybuilder, not even with physique. I forgot her name.
Exactly.
And she was even an ambassador and not even a pro yet.
Don't get me wrong. A lovely girl, but you're like whoever said, one of the people on to
Hello?
I wish it was that easy when I was competing, but I'm 50 now, so it's different.
Yeah, you paid your time. You did
But
your big
yeah,
bro. Yeah, here, we got here
yeah,
from
it's.
Jay Warrior 1000.
I would like to ask your audience, what do they feel? How do they feel
Oh, he's in and out. Yo, is it me or is it him? Hello, folks. I think I might have lost my man Big Keith. There, he'll pop back up. But I'm gonna say this real quick. My man JW1000. He says Andrew Shaw is like the Kobe Bryant of women's bodybuilding, while Linda Murray is the Michael Jordan of women's bodybuilding. I think Iris Kyle is the Bill Russell of women's bodybuilding. So you're gonna go like this. Go ahead, Bill Russell. He has the most rings between Jordan and Kobe. Also, we have here for Raheem Hamilton. How can I get a female bodybuilder to be my woman, wife? That's a great goal for me. Well, you just gotta talk to them. They're women. Just talk to one. Treat her like a woman, Raheem. Just don't just look at me with the muscles. Just look at me as a woman. Also, my man Sean Mellon said, "Who's your pick to win the Masters Olympia?" If I just go by the women specifically, like the two divisions I do follow, that's physique and women's bodybuilding. For women's bodybuilding, there's a good chance it's going to be between Leah Denny and maybe Rashana Boswell. For physique, I think it's going to be Ivy Rain. Truthfully, Ivy Rain,
Yep.
I think, there was talking about I think you knew Heather Grace back in the day. She could be in that show, and yeah, because you used to date Heather. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be Evie Rain. I think unless any other women come in condition to beat her, but I think for the women's bodybuilding part, it's gonna be between Rashana and Leah Denny. Donna's could be in the show. I like Donna, but it's gonna be tough for her because she's her conditions never. She did pretty good in New York, and that was her best year. Last year was her best year, and she didn't do too good in New York this year. I don't think she was even in the top 5 of that show. But it's all up to her. But here we have also. This is from man Raheem. You put this up. Let's get it up. Raheem. He says this. Where's a good state for men to be in to talk to female bodybuilders? I'm in NYC. I would say go to Florida. Also, go to Texas because Amanda lives in Texas. There's plenty of ladies that move to Texas now, or just go to California. California's always been a bodybuilding state, even though there's not a lot of shows for women bodybuilding. It was one of the big meccas for bodybuilding back in the day.
Venice Beach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Venice Beach, Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you probably meet some ladies there.
You got the Brad Francis in. Brad Francis in New York. What's the one in Texas? The big one Ronnie used to train at. Now it's like a franchise.
Vicky Gates.
Are they trying to go? Huh?
Vicky Gates.
Yeah.
That's
Are they trying to find women bodybuilders, or what
I think that's what he wants. He's trying to look for a woman bodybuilder. This is not a dating show, but this is if you like this thing.
You ain't got to look for him. Just go. You ain't got to look for him anymore. Just go on social media.
Yeah. Some of these ladies I talk to, many of them who I talk to got a husband, a boyfriend, but others who like to have a guy, they like to have a guy who can just treat them as a woman. Like I was talking to one lady. She has a guy who always sends her stuff. She's got a boyfriend, but she's really cool. And I said something. She said, "George, thank you for saying that. You make me laugh and make my day." Because other guys will send me some crazy shit, like some D-pics or some stuff or some sexual stuff. You send me like a little song or send me a little note or something to make me laugh.
Don't be a weirdo.
Yes, don't be that guy.
My wife don't be that guy. I got my wife to answer my IG, and all of a sudden there's some foreign dude with his dick hanging out. I'm like, for one, it ain't big enough, bro. For two, put that shit away because put that shit away because nobody wants to see that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the weirdest shit. I'm like, that's your game? Your game is calling somebody, showing her your dick? Really? That's your game? How you doing? I'm a big fan. Just want to meet you. How How about start there? Just whip out your dick. That's what we start now. Just whipping out your
Just
dick.
like,
You know?
pull out like Bernie Mac said, I pull my shit out and everything goes dark. Right, but that's Bernie Mac. Also, this is from Charlotte Miller. I think Andre's going to a fourth Pete, but you guys think Christian McGill is going to make the top 3? Well, it's all depending. You still have Andrew Yo. He said he's wondering if Christina Mendoza is going to make the top 3. Well, you still have Andrew Yo.
I wouldn't say that yet.
Yeah. Depending how you still have Sherry Priami. I don't know about Sherry. She looks good, but she might be. Then you can't forget, I had a bet with somebody that we're betting that Teresa Vossick might not make it. I'm saying Teresa might make it. She's saying Teresa might not make it. You have Auxilio from Brazil. She beat Anastasia. She looked pretty good, but there was only 2 women that show because there's so few women overseas that compete, and that's the big problem there. And now with shows like what?
And that's what Alina was saying. It's like she did this Masters. She tried to get more people in this Master Olympia, but even over in Europe, it's just not a lot of Master competitors or people wanting to do Master shows. So as much as they want to they're putting on this Master Olympia, and this is coming from the horse's mouth, it's tough because, again, this whole Master qualification, the whole thing of Masters, having to pay to play type of deal, people are not feeling that shit. They're not feeling it. So that's going to make it really hard. Because here's the thing. If you qualify, the question is, I don't know the rules of this, George, and I don't know if you heard, but if you're going to the Master Olympia, are they paying? Who's putting the bill for that? Because Romania, I really want to compete over there and Tina to compete over there. That shit ain't cheap, and we got money.
Yeah, I talked to somebody that told me that they have to fit the bill for themselves. Because I was talking to a lady, I was wishing her good luck, and she told me they say, hey, yo, I got to foot the bill myself. She's talking about after this season, because she only did a couple of shows, she might take a break, and just relax and maybe grow and come back the year next. It's just one thing is Jake got the money. He could have, fit for the plane tickets, and that would have saved a little. You just got to pay for your hotel and stuff.
Well, even the guy when I did the new Nordic Pro my first year, that was the year they did Generation Iron. The dude, he put every athlete up in a hotel. We paid for our airfare, but he put every dude up in the hotel. Our transportation, they treated us like royalty. It was a blast, but because nobody's gonna fly all the way to Helsinki on their own dime. You know what I'm saying? So the people that's there is convenient, but I think it was me, Fred Smalls, Todd Jewell, and Rolly Winkler is the guys who came. And Rolly's from the Netherlands, but came from over to compete in that show, and it was a great show. But again, like you're saying, that's an expensive trip, to come home empty-handed and be like, maybe if you're saving up for a vacation and saying, well, we'll use our vacation money to go over there and do a little vacation and compete at the same time. But other than that, that's an expensive trip, So I don't know,
Yeah, it's just the cost of anything. If it's just like I said, like you said, if I know somebody who did Vancouver said that when he I did an interview with Sherry Priami. I also talked to Melina Perron, who did the Vancouver Pro. The guy who set up that show, he took care of everything pretty much. I think they just had to pay for the tickets and stuff, but he did take care of the host, the motel and stuff like that. He even had Uber for him if you want to drive him around. That's good, and he even had medical people there. Get some blood work there, take their blood pressure. That's good because you know what? He just, like I said, he just added women's wellness to this show this year. So he probably is going to slowly add maybe another show. He might add figure next year, or maybe you'll see more because this is the first year of a show. You might see some more women jump on because I think Ann Moon done that show. I think Ann Moon might be the top 5 competitor at the for physique. If you remember I said that thing to your wife how Sarah Vilgas and Natalia Cuejo are kind of like biting each other like little doggies, in an argument,
Yeah.
But it's just, hey, Sarah, you're a rich man's wife. Don't worry about that girl. She about broke. So here we have a man. KL the Wandery says, Raheem, if you get a female bodybuilder, be your girl, glasses up, high on a lot of them is not different than a woman you see in the street. They just mostly likely have issues. Like all women have issues, KL. No woman's perfect. You never find a perfect woman. Maybe like my girl was my mother. I love my mother. She was a great woman. She wasn't perfect, but she was my mother. And also, this is from my man, KL, who says, George, if you give a bodybuilder girlfriend glasses up high, well, like I said, it'd be nice to be friends. And, I don't know, maybe get a girlfriend, maybe, but I live in another place, any other place. And one thing is, you don't want to do a long distance relationship. That just don't really work. And you got to go here and go there. You rather have them right close to you so you get to see him. And best advice, guys, don't move in a woman unless it's your mother. So, that's the best advice I give you. You keep your place, she keeps her, you don't have to worry about, you get kicked out, you don't have to worry about it. He says to me, shut up, George. He said, okay, kiss my ass, mother sucker. Also, this is from KS. Just in case I wasn't specific, your best bet may be to meet a FB in NYC. You could check out Velvet Row. I don't know. Well, you probably NYC is probably pretty good. I know there's quite a few bodybuilders back there that was in New York, but I think if you to anybody who's interested in meeting field bodybuilders, jump on social media. Talk to them like real women. Don't talk to them like don't be like this guy said, "Wow, you got a lot of muscles." No, talk to them like they're real women. That's what they are. They're real women. They're athletes, and they like when guys just simply talk to them like. Just don't look at them for the muscles. Talk to them like you talk about any girl. Like you go to a club and meet a girl, talk to her. Don't be looking up. But you could look up and down because you might admire her body. But at the same time, remember she's still a woman. And like I said again to Raheem, interested, go to a show. There's always women hanging around doing before the shows, after the shows. They're not in the mood right then because if they're competing at the show. Their minds on getting ready, this and that.
But you have to understand.
Go ahead.
He has to understand too. You got competitors, and then you still got girls that are there as fans that are bodybuilders that are there too. So go up to them and talk to them. You don't want to talk to a woman bodybuilder when they doing a show and they got prejudging the finals and all this other stuff. Maybe there's an after party or something like at Worlds or the Olympia or something that if you buy the ticket to go to the after party and meet and greet or whatever. But you have to understand, guys, when you're at these shows, they're doing their job. They're doing their job. They're trying to compete. They're trying to stay focused. All of us are athletes. They're trying to stay focused. And we're trying to be an asshole. So there's a time and a place for everything. But in the audience, like I think the last show I was, the Atlanta Pro, it was World Championships, when we went to Atlanta Pro, man, the audience was stellar. There was a ton of men and women there. So, whether you use, what side of the fence you swing on, just make conversation with people. But it's as a pro and also a pro that's married to a pro, the weird and creepy shit that Tina gets on her IG, and I don't even go on her IG because I don't pay attention to that stuff. But she'll ask me to answer the phone every now and then. It's like it's called game, fellas. Have a good game. Hey, how you doing? I'm a big fan. Just wanted to introduce myself. They may be married, they may be not. This, that, and other. But it's it's a way to come across to these ladies so you don't sound creepy or weird. As a guy, I even get weird shit. Hey, can you send me a naked picture? Can you send me pictures posing in your posing trunks? Fuck no. Are you serious? I'm a dude, so I can't imagine what women get for real. It's crazy. It's I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't even know you. You just, and guys, you understand these women don't know you, and they live in a world where it's already kind of a taboo for them. But then to have you come off and being creepy and weird and stuff like that, it just makes it even worse. So like George said, the best thing you can do is, hey, I'm a fan, really appreciate your work, your hard work and dedication, et cetera, et cetera. But don't, oh my God, no shit. They know they got muscles. They look at themselves every day. I like your muscles. Well, thanks. I'm sure that's the reason why you're reaching out to me anyway. So, there's ways about going out and doing stuff. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that, George.
Yeah, like when I do my interviews, like I pop this guy up here every now and then, and where'd it go? And I try to like be entertaining too when I do my interviews. Like I do like this, like say like hello and talk to ladies, and they like it because some of them might make. I try to be careful that I do it all the time. Every now and then, just because to break the ice and to also have a good conversation and they laugh and they enjoy. Like I just had a couple interviews, just like I said this weekend, and the ladies they enjoy the laugh and they like to feel good and like to remind me and tell them that. And also remember that tell them that you're beautiful, you're attractive, you're nice. That's what women love to hear. They love to hear a compliment, but don't go too far with your compliments. Be complimentary, but not too complimentary. Just be chalant, but not too chalant. You have to walk that fine line because some of these ladies they deal with a lot of guys who prejudge them. They have to deal with guys who think they're men that are who are. They have to deal with guys who get wide eyed and thirsty when they see them. Just be like a regular guy talking to a regular woman. She is a regular woman, but she's an athlete.
Yep.
And just treat him like that.
Yep.
Like I tell my man KL that, sometimes he has issues when he tries to interview some of these ladies. Sometimes ladies are kind of, tentative when they deal with somebody. But just say if you like one thing I do, like if I do reach out for an interview and I say, you know what, I'm going to, if we try to get contact with you, if you don't, I'm not going to I'm going to spend my time chasing after you. Sometimes later down the road, I get a message say, hey, I was wondering we're going to talk about the interview. Well, I was waiting on you because you know what? I know you're busy, you got this and that, and I don't want to bother you too often. So that's not a bother. Just we're going to do this. This is a man. KL says this. He says Bill Dobbins said you most likely to creep women out with the Joker thing. Well, if they do, they do. But the ones I've done interviews with, they really like because it's an icebreaker. It's funny, and sometimes I have met ladies who like. Well, I was talking with a young lady. Her name is Anna. She's a fitness competitor. She said she loved that version of the Joker. She watched the movie. She loved it. And and also Marika Jones, who also competed at Chicago. She said she also loved that. It's just I don't do it all every now and then. I just do it every now and then just to break the ice and have a little fun. But before we head out, because my man Keith, he's been busy. The wife came home, the kids are home. I really thank him. But if you hadn't heard, I was talking with Marika Jones. There's the news that we might have a new bodybuilder coming up probably next year. And that is, drum roll please, Ashley Jones.
Who's that?
Ashley Jones. Now, Ashley has competed Ashley was originally in figure when she got a pro card. The last 2 years, she's competed in physique. She made her first Olympia in physique in 2021, but she competed because she got sick. But she competed last year, and even Andrew's saying that Ashley got those muscle bellies, and she, I said this about her. That was the same year her and Melissa competed at the Olympia. And there's been talk about them maybe going up to women's bodybuilding. And I think Ashley decided that after this year, she said she's not competing in any shows this year, because last year she competed in Chicago and she got her second Olympic qualification in Chicago. She competed at the Texas Pro, and then I think she was number 11 at here at the Olympia, because and she decided to this year to not compete in physique, take some time off, because this is a picture here from the back. She was a figure competitor, and she switched to physique back in 2021. And this is from the last year. This is 2018 when she earned her pro card is in figure, and this is from last year, 2022, at the Olympia.
Yeah,
big bro?
she's gonna have to move the bodybuilding because she's too big to be a figure girl. That picture is small, dimensions, but she looks like she's a little too big to be a women's physique now. So she may have to make that move, which
Yeah, I think it works out better because you know what she's only been in competing physique for about a couple of years, and and she's on the shorter side. She's probably a little taller than Michaela, maybe barely by a couple of inches, but she has put on that size.
it's like
And
almost a midget, Almost a legal midget, but not a midget. I'm just playing.
Mhm. Yeah, I know you play. I know you know Michaela. But this is a picture right here. I love this picture right here. Look, you can look how if you didn't know who it was, you probably think that was Margie. If you look from the back.
Yeah, from the lat insertion to the waistline. Yep.
Yeah, you would think that was Margie because look the quads, the
With those
back.
legs. Yep.
Yeah, because I
She
saw this
just
when she
got
posted
younger.
this.
She just got younger, juicier skin.
This picture I like right here. I don't know why I like this picture here. Oh my god! I don't know. It's the light or how they do it. It's just I like this picture. Just that smile she got, that beautiful chocolate skin. The small of me comes out, and I think it's a good move for her because, like I said, she's still young, and she's still developing and growing as a competitor. And I think there's no point like a lot of these girls who try to stick in uh the one division,
That's some
especially.
crazy quads. Oh,
Yeah. Try to say like if you that one girl, Emily Sherbert, who competed at New York and Pittsburgh against Natalia, and then she won the Omaha. She should have just understanding when you current Miss Olympia's doing a show, and here's the truth is, don't do this show. Go to a show where you know you're most definitely going to get your qualification. Why I understand, she lived in Pittsburgh, in that Pittsburgh area, and New York's not too far from Pennsylvania. But if you see opportunity where a show where you know what I can get my qualification faster instead of going behind Miss Olympia taking second twice, then do the show. She could have done Ultima.
yeah.
I think that was the same week as the New York show, I believe, or it was a week after. Or I think the same week as the Toronto show. She could have done Ultima and could have got her qualification, and then
Yep.
but I don't know. I don't say want to be competitive, but then you have to compete against the current Miss Olympia in your division, and she's taking the shows in the United
Yep.
States. And so these ladies, they
Yeah.
keep saying about, I don't want to sacrifice my femininity if I go to bodybuilding. I understand that part, but the fact is, when you grow, like I said, Ashley's young. I think Ashley's just in her early 30s, I think, and she's growing, developing as an athlete. And I know you're a coach, you coach bodybuilders. We see your athlete growing, developing,
Yep.
and you try to you have a girl who's a figure girl saying, "I want to stay in figure," but you look at her and say, "No, sweetheart, you need to go to physique."
Here's a prime example. Me and Tina had a girl at our gym named Asia who went to do Southern States. And, it's kind of one of those, she's kind of one of those resting bitch faces like Tina. When you at the gym, you don't want to bother them. But so it was one moment to break the ice. And Tina looked at her and said, great physique and stuff like that. But Tina looked at her and goes, she does doing wellness. And Tina says, I really think you should do figure or try to do both. She ended up placing second in wellness. The judge came up to her and goes, if you would have did figure, you would have won the class.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think a lot of
people have to understand, we've been doing this for a long time. And she's like, damn it. I'm like, well, the judge came. I said, what judge say? Came up to me right away and said, if I would have been in figure, I would have won. Because, that's where people don't understand these lines, the Mayas of the world. And some of these girls, a girl who placed third in Chicago who are sliding over to women's bodybuilding. Some of them are rightfully should slide over to women's bodybuilding because they understand that their place in women's physique is no longer there, or they're not going to place high just because the mass, like the girl you just showed me, I think Ashley is what she said her name was.
Ashley Jones.
She's just so wide and so thick, and and that's not compared to. I always tell people, look at the top 5 girls, and then look at the top 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 girls. I think you said she was 11th, and say, well, why is she not good enough to be in that top 5? Because the common denominator of girls, and we had to learn this with Tina for a long time when she was in women's physique.
Because number 1 and number 2 at the Olympia are apples and oranges. So.
Well, like Tina said, number 1 and number 2 at the Olympia are apples and oranges in Olympia. But
perfect, and then something that doesn't look anything like her.
Who was second at the Olympia
and then
this
the
last
4th
year?
girl.
It was Andrea Yao.
Who?
Angela Yo, she took second.
Oh yeah, the little short chick. Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a good. Yeah. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is when Tina jumped in the conversation, what I'm saying is when she competed, she was too big. She was too big to be a women's physique competitor. So even when she did North Americans, she got off stage and everybody's like, man, you had to get your pro card. She's like, no, I was third because she was too big to be women's physique. She should have been women's bodybuilding, but Tina also is a natural athlete, so she didn't think that she was big enough to be a women's bodybuilder. You know, and then she did her first women bodybuilding show at Wings of Strength and turned pro. So it's one of those things where your confidence in who you are, and like this Ashley Jones girl's doing the right thing, taking off a year. You know, some people can jump in dead last. And then
Yeah. Well, he's going in and out again. Here, hip hop back. It's just he got shitty Wi-Fi, but hip hop back. We got a man here, Raheem Handler. He says, Keith, what NFL team did you play for? He played for Green Bay back in the day. I think he also played some other teams. He'll go back. He'll tell us. Also, we got here a man, KL the Warner says, Ashley Jones. I remember that name. Yeah, you should check out Ashley Jones. I'm gonna do you a favor, KL. I am going to put her link in the description in the comment section of the live stream. And you know, she's kind of cute. She has a nice physique. She has a great look to her. And if you want to check it out, if any of you guys want to check out Ashley's social media, it's in the link of the comments. It's in the link, you know, in the live stream. Go over and check her out. Follow her on social media. You know, and I think even Andrea said that she was getting those muscle bellies. And you know, she was getting. You saw the pictures. She was getting a lot more dense in the back, in the shoulders. You know, especially her legs and quads. Because that picture that I showed earlier, I think I can pull it up again because I'll pull it one more time for KLA. And you know, I'm gonna post one more time for KL, that picture of her when she's turned to the back. You know, I said again, she looked about like Margie. The hair, her shoulders, the density of the back. I think Margie got some tattoos. So no, she don't get a tattoo. She looks like maybe a younger version of Margie Martin. She's just a little shorter because Margie's like about 5'3", you know, and she just had the color complexion. You know, you would think, you know, if you wouldn't think of it, the suit, you would think it was Margie. You know,
yeah,
we got him back here. You know, he's back. You know, he came back to sing the time. Yeah. That's where you get. You know, I got Spectrum. It's not that good, but hey, it's better than what you got.
Shut up. I'm working on it.
You're working on it. I'm just busting your balls, bro. I'm just busting your balls.
I'm working. Hey, but here's the thing. As we were talking about these people, you know, here's a prime example. You know, one of the biggest people that people, you know, underestimated and made the best, and he's not a bodybuilder, but think about it. The Rock is the most highest paid male actor in Hollywood right now, right? Played football, went to WWE, you know, makes his little appearances, you know, now. But Rock is now the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Got the XFL, got Under Armour, all this other stuff. Again, it's just like yeah, you know, it's this whole scenario we talked about before. The Danas, the Kais, you know, some of these guys who said, okay, Vince McMahon, you got the best out of The Rock. Now The Rock needs to get the best out of himself. And this dude done blown up. I mean, Kevin Hart, you know, some of these guys that you look at, I mean, they have marketed themselves so damn well, you know, as far as where they came from, who they are, knowing who they are, and now understanding after letting the system use them for so long, they're now using the system. Now they're now working that system that used them for so long, and they're very successful people. You know,
and they're good friends too. Because yeah, you know, Kevin and The Rock, because they did like 2 or 3 movies together, and they become good friends.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, it's crazy how, you know, how this all works, you know, for these guys, and so that's what these people have to understand. Chase after a dream, but you know, I mean, even Juan Morel, you know, Cookie, they call him the Cookie Dealer. You know, him and his wife, the Cookie Dealer. You know, they became big time sponsors at the Olympia. But Juan done opened up I think he retired now. He done opened up a restaurant and all these celebrities and all the big wigs and the Steve and this, gorgeous restaurant they have. But eventually we all understand this is what I hope your audience and competitors take from this podcast. Eventually you can chase off a pro card in a dream for so long, and some it comes to fruition and some it never happens. But there's also other avenues to what you're doing that you can make money off of, being a trainer, being a nutritionist, other things that you can do to make money. Because honestly, a lot of these competitors are now online training, doing stuff like that because they understand that residual income to chase your dream is what you need to chase your dream is that residual income. It can't just be, and here's the thing, getting a pro card is great and it's wonderful, and being the IFBB is great and wonderful, but you're paying for it no matter what. Playing in the league, I played in the league, I got drafted, I was, I was a decent player, and I was paid to do a job. I didn't have to pay somebody to do a job, so that was the difference. And that's what people have to understand. I can either pay, hold on 1 second. We got a special appearance from Miss IFBB Pro Rip Diva.
Hey.
Hey.
I just have to speak on behalf of the women that are out there, and I say this all the time. We do not have the opportunities men do to be pro athletes. So at the end of the day, to fulfill our dream, if bodybuilding is it, then we'll pay to do it because that's the only avenue that we have. We have WNBA, couple tennis players, and soccer that plays every now and then. But honestly, we don't have the opportunities men do.
Yeah, right now they have the
unfortunately,
soccer. Yeah, right now they have the women's world championship right now, and I think women's soccer is the highest paid in sports
that's what
right now.
I'm saying. But the thing about it is, I'm an athlete. I did track, I did basketball, I did volleyball, and all of this. And I'm sorry, I played baseball with the boys. Outside of that, how many opportunities do I have to go pro and make a living out of it like the men do? So when we talk about having to pay to do it, I was always an athlete in my life. I always was an athlete, and I wanted to continue to be an athlete, and I got challenged to do that. And so for me, I'll pay that price because this was the only avenue for me to live my professional, being a professional athlete was through bodybuilding. So I did play pro football, the LFL, but still, it's just one of those things where unfortunately we say to the men more than anything, are you willing? But some guys aren't athletic. They're bodybuilders. You don't have to be an athlete to be a bodybuilder. Facts are facts. You move weight. You don't have to chase somebody down. You don't have to be fast. You know what I mean? It's just a sport that women have the opportunity to do so. So sorry, I just had to throw my 2 cents in there.
Well,
but
we
he
appreciate
says it all
that.
the time, and I said, yeah, but it may cost me money, but it's one of the only avenues that I have to be a pro athlete.
Well, we do appreciate your input because and you deserve just as much as any other male athlete. You're not gonna get as much as they do because the fact is we all know the men are the bottom bitch of the industry. They're the ones who bring in the money, but you deserve just as much. Yeah. I think Andrew should at least get $100K or more for Miss Olympia than $50,000. And I think
when the prize money is what, 400 for a man?
Yeah, it's 400,000. It was 400. Yeah, it was 450, but it dropped to 400,000 last year. And and Andre gets, I think, 50,000. I know Natalia gets 40,000, and I think all the other divisions get a little less. I think only the ones that get a little more, I think, is the men's 212 and the men's open.
Yeah, and they increased it, I think, from Jake. I remember we were at the year where Jason, with Whitney and stuff, he goes, well, just to let you know, the prize money now is going up to 50,000 versus I think when Iris was competing with 35,000. So now it's 50,000. But it's when you're looking over your shoulder or you're backstage with a guy that you probably work hard, just as hard, or work harder or just as hard as, and he's making, you know, $400,000 or $350,000 more dollars than you, you're kind of scratching your head like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know, so, you know, and that's the shitty thing of it, you know, and, you know, I mean, and I think I heard one pro bodybuilder, one competitor say, well, when you put as many seats in the stands as we do, then you get paid the amount of money. But
no offense, there wasn't nobody at the Chicago Pro.
but guess what? I remember one year when I did the Chicago Pro, we didn't get on stage till midnight. Guess what? There was maybe five people in the audience for men's pro bodybuilding.
They wasn't selling shit.
They weren't selling shit because everybody was there to watch women's figure, bikini, women's, you know, I don't even think they had women's bodybuilding that year, but everything else, they were there for everything else but men's bodybuilding because Rolly Winkler won it that year, and it was probably, they didn't have no food for us backstage, but it wasn't nobody in the audience because they weren't there to see men's bodybuilding. They're there to, here's the thing. Here's one thing that the IFBB and the NPC got smart about, and we've talked about this before, George, and I know we got to wrap it up. Pro-ams. Pro-ams is the way to go. You know why? Because Pro-ams is going to pit the people who actually want to see bodybuilding, which is some of both NPC and bodybuilding. But the Pro-am is because amateurs bring so much more money into shows. Then that's why you have the Tim Gardner Wings. That's why they start giving out really cool prizes at the Chicago Pro for Amateur show, the Tampa Amateur show. The Olympia now has an amateur. The Arnold now have an amateur. If you really count up how many people come to these like Pro-am shows now, you did the math, there's more people who attend the amateur shows than the pro shows. And for men's bodybuilding, for us to sit here and try to stroke our egos saying, oh, they're in the audience to see us. No, they're not. Because the difference at the Arnold, the difference at the Olympia is they're not different sessions. They're all one session. So if you're sitting there watching women's bodybuilding, you're going to watch men's bodybuilding. If you're there to watch women's physique, you're going to watch women's bikini. If you're there to watch men's physique, you're going to watch men's classic physique because it's all one ticket because the damn tickets are so expensive. So while these men are sitting here stroking their ego saying, ooh, all the people were sitting here for us, not necessarily. We think so. We can tell ourselves that, but that ticket is bought under one umbrella. So that's why there's all those people in the seats because those people got in the seats. Because everything before men's bodybuilding started, there were other categories like women's bodybuilding, women's physique, all that, et cetera, et cetera. So now some are on a different day, some are another day. But what these promoters got to get in their head is like, this is a little, I mean, a little, like, even if they give Andrew $100,000, say they take away, 50,000 or 75,000 from the men, you're still walking away with $300,000 for one show. One show, the guy's still walking away with $300,000, and this girl, whose title is no less than the men's title, should be making the same, if not somewhere near somewhat of the kind of money that men are making. Call me crazy, but I'm a equal opportunity guy when it comes to men and women's sports. And like Tina said, we've always not argued, but we've always challenged that. There's not very many opportunities for women to play pro sports. And now, even in soccer, now they have start making the money more equal from men's soccer to women's soccer. Because even though everybody thinks men's soccer is more, are you done? You gonna jump in? You want to sit down here and jump in the podcast? But think about it. When Team USA and Mia Hamm, see, this is what happens in the Williams household. I'm live, and then she want to chime in instead of sitting her ass down here and having a conversation with us. But when
she's a woman. It's a woman's prerogative to chime in with men talk. But sometimes women got to know their place. Women got to know their place.
Hey guys, you sure you want to meet a woman's bodybuilder? Because this is what you got to deal with. I'm just playing.
Yeah, we love Tina. Yeah, but like I said, if there was more opportunities for these women, they would come to these shows. If the money was better, I mean, Margie talked about this. I was talking to Margie one time on IG how, well, I wanted to do an interview with her. She said, nah, talk to the promoters like that. They don't want to talk to me. They'll talk to somebody who's like a bigger name. They might talk to somebody who's mainstream. But it's, I like to talk to you athletes because you're the ones we come to see. We want to get your feedback, your thoughts, because that's the truth. Because the promoters, the higher ups, they're just going to give you the runaround. but it's you, the competition, the competitors. Y'all the ones that really have a voice in this thing because you're the ones who put time and money into this, and you should get something out of it. We got here from my man KL1. He says, Keith, what position you played for Green Bay or other teams you played with? You know, and we know my man Big Keith. He's an ex NFL player.
I got drafted by Denver, and in the supplemental draft, and I was running back, kickoff, punt returner. And then for Green Bay, I was defensive back, kickoff, punt returner.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. And also, this is from Raheem. He says this. He said, I'm going to get myself a trainer next month. It's good for me to work out by myself, but I need input where I need to get better at. Yeah, I think I might need to get a trainer too. I was working out, but I got sick. I was dehydrated myself, and I need to get back in the gym. But it takes me some time. I'm kind of procrastinating, but I know I need to get back. That's the tough part. And my brother, he needs to get back. He's been through hell and back. He looks like he's doing a lot better now. He got a good, strong woman there. She needs to sit her ass down, and next time we do a live stream, like Stone Cold said, sit your ass down and say, and we're gonna say, we're gonna walk your ass down dry. Sit your ass down and have a conversation with you. That's what we do it next time, as Stone Cold said, because Stone Cold said so. But you got to do it so close out there. But yeah, brother, it is great to talk with you again and to get your feedback and to hear from you. Tina, I hope she does great at Rising. The debate is that I hear people saying that Christina might beat Andrea. They said Natalia might beat. And like you said,
who? What? Wait, what? What?
Yeah. These are the guys who follow my channel. And it's saying, it's one guy who, he's saying that.
Okay.
All right, okay.
There's a Lamborghini. There's a Lamborghini, and it's a Lamborghini. There's a Lamborghini and a Corvette that look like a Lamborghini, but it ain't a Lamborghini. No disrespect.
It's just you gotta realize they're great women. They got great physiques, but even if Andrew was just a slightly off, just a slight off, it's still not enough. Even though on the top game.
Here's the thing. What did they say? Ronnie Coleman was 8-time Mr. Olympia. Let's educate you people. Ronnie Coleman was 8-time Mr. Olympia. Jay Cutler was chasing after Ronnie forever. Jay didn't beat Ronnie until Ronnie went after his 9th title, and Ronnie was off. Very off. He's size, and I had a conversation with Chad. And Ronnie was off some years where Jay could have beat, but a champion being a little off, and being a little off is not knocking his ass up. He may be wobbly, but if you can't knock his ass out like Jay did when he finally took it from Ronnie, what are we talking about? It's the evolution of this damn sport. You got to knock out the champ in order to take her title. So you can't be like, like I said, I see these new little ass Corvettes. I'm like, man, that's a Lamborghini. Oh, no, that's a Corvette. Oh, that's a Lamborghini. That's a Corvette. There's a difference between the two. Price for one, and the overall whole different thing. And, Christina, not taking nothing away, and no disrespect, because that's, Christina and Joey are fam, but I'm not going to sit here and make that, all of a sudden just make that prediction that Christina can beat the champion, because again, well, I guess we'll see, because Christina's doing the world championships too. So we'll see what she brings to the table. That'll be the prelude to what we see at the Olympia, right? So let's wait for that, because Christina's invited to the Worlds just like Andrea, and let's see what she brings to the table. And y'all gonna see a different package out of Tina this year, because she getting coached by Joe Smith as well. The world, she getting coached by Andrea's coach, and she looking all right. So we're excited for this year. So
yeah, we're excited for it too, because we hope she does well. And I hope next year they do bring back some of these shows. Maybe they bring point system, because it does. I think when we talk about the amateur part, Jake has these 2 shows out. I think one in Arizona. I think is the Sun show and one of the Sun Devil show. I think eventually it's going to happen
Yep.
Those shows are going to be pro-ams. I see them. Maybe they're going to be pro-ams down the road. And that show Valhalla in Romania, that also is going to be a pro-am later down the road. It's just if they get enough competitors to compete, those shows are going to become the next pro-ams.
Well, yeah, even the Romania show that they had out there before the Master Olympia was a pro-am, and they great brought out great attendance for European people who were out there. Not a lot of. I imagine there wasn't a lot of American people out there letting us. They were on vacation or they were just that true bodybuilding fans because it's not cheap. But again, at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to pro-ams is where these guys make their money at. Pro-ams, because NPC is NPC, and they bring a lot of bodies in. And they make a lot of money, and that's how some of these promoters are able to carry that purse over for the pros because they use some of that money. Because these amateurs are, you understand too, these NPC shows, these athletes are like, if they're doing wellness, they may do figure. They're doing physique, they may do bodybuilding. I mean, these guys may do classic physique, they may do physique. So they're crossing over. So they're paying two entry, they're paying for two different classes, which is a lot of money. Because some of I think classes most are cheap, no cheaper than $150. So if you're doing two classes, $300 a class, $150 a class, these promoters can foot the bill because they're making money. They're not losing money. Ain't no promoter. Here's the thing. There's a reason why people like the indie guy and some people sit there and say, I don't want to do. They stop their show. People have to understand, in order to get a show, you have to go through Jim Mannion, and that's a sanction fee. So in order to put on a show, you have to pay a sanction fee to put on the show. And that's per class that you're doing it. It's not just, hey, it's like, and I could tell you this because Chad Nichols told me he had the Muscle Mayhem, and it was an awesome show. The first year he had bikini. Then the last 2 years he had men's bodybuilding, which brought Victor Martinez, Charles Griffin, me, Akeem Williams, a whole bunch of competitive bodybuilders, John De La Rosa back in the day. And then all of a sudden, Chad says, man, these fees for me to bring these shows are money. So I'm making money on the amateur side, which ain't like the pro-am shows like the Tim Garners and those guys are running, but I'm making money. But the money I'm making, I could be making more money if I just do an amateur show than having a pro show because of the sanction fees and what I got to pay out for prize money to these guys. So that's what people have to understand, the logistics of the sport.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's about the money and how to make the money. Like they always saying, make the money, don't make the money make you. So, folks, we like to thank my big brother here. I hope he's doing better.
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, baby. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Don't make sense. No, sir, we don't. No, sir, we Bob. No, sir, we Robert.
Nope.
But, folks, if you missed this video, watch it again. Give your thoughts, your critique. If you are someone out there who's a fan of bodybuilding, especially of the ladies, because I know there's guys who schmoes out there who spend money on sessions like that. You can put enough money, get enough guys to come together and reach out to these promoters. Try maybe also get enough. You talk to the Manions. Hey, we got the money to pay for the per diem. That's what it is. It's more like the Bob. It's like paying the per diem. And try to get the opportunity for these ladies to shine a little bit. This year's going to be a very low count who wins bodybuilding. With Hella out, that counts down to number 2, almost a 10,
Hella's
maybe 11.
He ain't competing this year.
No. Yeah, she just did an interview with Isabel, and she said it. It was Isabel, her, Tina, and Chelsea. And at the end of the interview with Isabel, she told she wasn't competing this year, and I was shocked. And she should have just skipped last year because she wasn't in her best condition. I tell you the truth, Bronca should have got third place.
Wow.
And I don't think she would have retired if she got third place.
I see a picture of Helen on the beach, and I can see why she's taking the year off. So,
yeah. She actually needs to, but I think she might come back a little bit. I think she's been thinking about retiring, and says it might be next year, but it might be her last year. Yeah, again,
Yeah.
And Irene's her buddy, so I think I saw Irene at Savannah, and she should have did. I don't know. I know she wants to do open, but she could have won the Masters there if she competed at Savannah. I know it's not Olympic qualification for Masters, but
I don't understand why she's not going to the. Why wouldn't she go to the Masters in Romania? Isn't she somewhere over there?
She lives, she lives in Sweden, and she's old enough because she's almost
She keep
60.
getting these honorary top 5. She might as well go there and win an Olympia title.
Yeah, and same with Jay Fuchs. Jay Fuchs, I think, Jay Fuchs is doing the Masters. I forgot about Jay Fuchs. She could, but she might also try to do the Spain show, because what she did last year, she only did one show. She should did 2. She should did a show in Spain, then did the remaining Muscle Fest. And I like Jay Fuchs. She just didn't come in condition she used to. But folks, we do appreciate my man, Big Keith. Also, this is from my man Raheem.
Appreciate you having me as your partner now.
Yeah, he says, Tina, forget what the women's soccer team had to give up to get to pay what they wanted. Yeah, they had to give up something. You never could get. You don't get nothing for something. You can't get something for nothing. Something got to be traded off for that. But anyway, folks, we do appreciate my man Big Keith. We do appreciate the lovely Mrs. Tina S. Williams. We hope the best for her in the Rise of Phoenix coming up in September. I might even do a live stream on that show, because I watched it last time, but I might do a live stream. I might do a live stream, and can't show it on the screen because copyright infringement like that. But I might talk about it. But we do appreciate them both, and thank you for the information, education. I thank my man Raheem for coming through, my man KO the Wanderer, also Lawrence Perkins, Balls Deep. Sean McMillan, all you who watch this, J Warrior 1000, all you watch this video, share, comment, subscribe, support these women and also these men in bodybuilding, because I've been interviewing guys with dudes too, but support these athletes in the sport of bodybuilding. If you're someone who, like I said again, if you have the means and the way to help these athletes, sponsorships, maybe even reaching out to the promoters to try to get some shows for these ladies, do it. Come together. Because I know you guys are fans. You love these ladies. You support these ladies. Come together. Be like Mama Joe says, soul food. Like, if you put together a fist, you can make a mighty blow. So anyway, man, thank you again, brother. I appreciate that. Good luck to you. I hope everything. My heart seems great to you. Say hello to the babies. And congratulations to your son. I think your other son. He's I saw you post that he's in not Cody, the other one.
Well, he's the pitcher for Keenan. He's the pitcher for the White Sox.
Congratulations! Keenan's
the pitcher for the White Sox.
Yeah, man, you make some strong babies.
Like my son Keenan said, it's in their DNA, George.
That DNA.
It's in their DNA, brother.
That's your daddy. Looking like the chocolate Hulk Hogan. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother, you're a real American, brother. Anyway, folks, thank you for that, Big Keith. Shout out to everybody.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, see you later, brother. Anyway, this is your man always Judge Pitch, a.k.a. Deeper of Female Body Talk. Don't subscribe. I am out. Good afternoon and good day.